Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, brothers and sisters all over the world. Whichever part of the day this message finds you, habari za asubuhi, habari za mchana, habari za jioni, brothers and sisters all over the world. And yes, I am talking to each and every one of you all over the world. The name of this channel is The African Times, and I'm Thomas. How's everybody doing this evening, this wonderful evening for the night chat? The night chat. All right, everybody, it's the day after Christmas, and I'm sitting here with you. Just wanted to let you know, just a brief chat, thinking about you. Just wanted you to know that today was a full day because I had to get the video out last night from last night when we went out to kind of show you guys what Christmas was like in Mbezi Beach here in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. So it was a good time. I was a little tired, but it's a good time. And anytime I'm doing work for the people, it's a good thing. All right. So again, tonight in this broadcast, just wanted to let you know that the video, it went well. I think it's pretty good. It'll give you an indication of how wonderful the people are here. Peaceful and happy and full of love. Um, just out having a good time, no worries. You know, I had kids with me, and there was no concern about their well-being, no concern about uh, whether or not I was safe out in an environment where you got to be worried about somebody breaking out with some kind of weapon or something like that and causing harm to the group of people. None of that. None of that. You know. So I guess you could say this broadcast is about the safe and wonderful, pleasant environment that it is in Tanzania. You know, Dar es Salaam. Um, where I'm from, I remember one incident when I was a child. We were out at every year they have what they call the fireworks, a display of fireworks up in the sky, things of that nature. And I remember my mother took me and my sister. She took us out, and while we were out there, it was it's like it had to be back in that time. It was well over 1 million people in the city of Detroit, so it could have been several hundred thousand of people out there watching these fireworks, and a fight broke out. Fight broke out. Everybody was, running for their lives. And I remember being a kid, and it was so densely populated with people just sitting there on the sidewalk, sitting there waiting for the fireworks to begin. Parents were frantic because they were, fighting. People were scrambling. It started a stampede. And I remember my mother grabbing me and grabbing my sister and, by the hand, come on. And we trying to run and falling over people's blankets and everything. None of that here. None of that here. But this is what I'm talking about, a society of people who have good morals and good values. No, no violence. I had to take the time to tell you this because it's the season for what? Goodwill. This is what they tell us. In W Land, they promote this heavy. Goodwill and the season of love and respect and fair treatment to your fellow man. All of that. I tell you, I just did a video. You guys check it out on propaganda. I'm going to do part two coming up. Uh, but in part one, we talked about it and give you an idea of propaganda. Before I came to Tanzania, Tanzania. Uh, I told you guys we did research. We looked and read as much as we could to find out about the place before we packed up and left. And it's amazing how you go to. I don't think it's the CDC. I don't think it's the CDC, but when you look on the United States website, whatever area that they have where they tell you travel advisories, on their website they listed things that it was very strange to us. We couldn't believe what we were reading. One of the things I recall, they were saying that don't go. They don't recommend you go to Tanzania. Um, I think it was something like that. So go look at it because it's still there. I'm sure it's still there. Uh, but basically, what they were saying is that they were describing some of the activities that they said were taking place here. Um, Things like carjackings and it's dangerous and it's violent and be careful. That's not the case at all. I can tell I can tell you I've been here, and if there was a problem like that, I would let you know. In fact, I probably would be leaving. Uh, Everything is quite the opposite. Very peaceful people. I was telling you guys in a video not too long ago that when I was here, I remember walking around. I was out. It was real late at night. I think it might have been maybe 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and I was walking out. Now, where I was walking, there were no street lights, so it was dark. But people were out because it's warm here. You can hang out. It's beautiful. And as I was walking out, I remember, you know, I could see coming towards me about 3 or 4 people. Couldn't really make out men or women. Couldn't really make it out, but it was that dark. And then, but I could tell there were 3 or 4 people coming. Now, where I'm from in W land, when you see 3 or 4 people coming towards you at dark and it's night and you don't have any lights, you start preparing yourself for what could be a dangerous situation. And you have these concerns. You worry. You got to look. So as the people approached and got closer to me when I was here, I remember having that thought come through my mind. And then I thought back to what I'd read on the government website, and I was like, wow, you know. But I was good, you know, because I told you I'm not really a scary person like that. So as I was walking past them and they were walking past me, then, you know, because I'm kind of analytical, I said, okay, they walked past me, I walked past them. I didn't say anything, they didn't say anything. They were talking among themselves, and I think that's probably why they didn't say anything, because they were engaged in just normal conversation, living and being happy and all of that. So they walked past me and I walked past them. And I remember turning around, looking, as, you know, it's kind of a habit growing up, you know, in W land, you know, where they constantly give you information over the television, the radio, magazines, print, newspaper, information to keep you afraid of your fellow man. And sometimes you need to be, because all of the people have been exposed to so much violence and so much immoral activity that some people, you know, take on those characteristics that they see in television and radio and all of that. So I should say here in radio. But anyway, these people, they walk past me, I walk past them. So again, being an analytical person, I turned around to look. None of them ever looked back. Not one time did they look back to see if, you know, maybe they had to watch me and see what I was going to do. No, they just kept walking and talking and having a good time. It wasn't even in their consciousness. It wasn't even in their mind. They didn't even think about it. And you know why? Safe, happy, loving society. Safe, happy, loving, peaceful people. You understand? So, thank you, the good Tanzanian people. Thank you. Thank you for giving me and my family a safe, caring, loving, nurturing environment for us to walk the streets at night comfortably, safe. Thank you. Thank you for that. Now, as far as my good brothers and sisters, unfortunately, still in W land, whichever part of the world it is. Now, I love you too, and I remember I was there. And I know that not everyone can leave there. I was fortunate enough to leave. I listen, just so you guys know, the future for me there was to work until I died. Literally work until I died. I'll tell you a story. I was working for a company, and there was a lady in there. She was 84 years old. She was working. She was in good health. But she was working just like I was, 9 hours a day. And, I'm a pretty approachable person, likable person. She approached me one day and she said, what I can't understand is, why these young people, now at this time she was calling me young, I was in my 40s, but I understood it. She said, I can't understand why, this is what she said to me, I can't understand why these young people keep asking me, why am I still working? And she said it's just the dumbest question she could ever think somebody would ask her. And so she kept talking and she was like, it's stupid. I'm just like anybody else. I'm working because I have to work. I mean, and she said, don't these stupid people know? I mean, she was pretty upset. She was like, don't these stupid people know? If I didn't have to work, I wouldn't work. But I have bills too. I have responsibility and things like that too. And I don't have enough money to retire, just like they don't have enough money to retire. Now, that's what she said to me. Now, I totally understand it because I had prepared my whole mindset that I had to work until I died. That's what it was going to be. And the interesting thing to me is there are people right now who probably heard me tell that story. And they're thinking, well, see, she just didn't prepare. She didn't do what she was supposed to do. If she'd been saving her money, she'd have been... Everybody can't do that. The system is set up to prevent that. You can believe what you want to believe. Those of you who have been fortunate enough to be able to amass a certain amount of wealth and fortune that would allow you to stop working. But I want to remind you and caution you, you see, that the system is set up in such a way, made up in such a way, that it creates the scenarios where a small few, a minority of people, are able to maneuver their way through the system, and with a little luck, a little good fortune, or depending on the type of job they have and so forth, the decade and era that they go through. Because remember, they go through these cyclical downturns, down periods, recessions. They go through these cyclical. The economists actually predict. There's one pretty famous economist who predicts. He's really not a prediction, I should say. He's done the research and has been able to determine that the capitalist system has an economic downturn every 4 to 7 years. So let's just be reasonable and say every decade. Every decade. Okay? Me, myself, I know this to be true because I'm old enough to have lived through it. The 70s, my dad was laid off for 5 years working with Chrysler. And all this talk, but the bailout and too big to fail. And see, these are repeated instances. Remember, my dad laid off with Chrysler 7 years. They gave Chrysler a bailout back with Lee Iacocca in the 70s. Chrysler. Then Chrysler rebuilt itself in the 80s, right? And then you remember, in the 80s, we had another big problem, whatever that problem was. Then the Reagan came. Then in the 90s, we had another problem. And it was Clinton. And then remember in Bush, we had a problem with, 9/11 and the Bush bailouts. And then Obama, with the Obama bailouts. Then, you come up with after Obama, you get Trump. And then you had the spooky thing that happened. Create another crisis. It's in their system. It's just the way their system is. Sorry about that, guys. Maybe that means I was talking a little bit too much. All right. But anyway, so I'm just letting you know that these things happen in the system. So some of you who think that lady in the story that I was telling you about didn't do something wrong as an individual, the system is designed and set up to make it appear, make you think that it's always something you're doing, when in actuality, no, the system is set up that way to have a limited few of people with a great deal of wealth. And it used to be a big middle class of people with equal or larger lower class that really was in survival mode, constantly living week to week. Now that lower class and middle class is somewhat combined, so that pretty much everybody living week to week. We all know it. No, people really don't have savings and all of that kind of stuff. We all know it. So that's the system. It's not individuals. It's just the way it works. I'm going to do a more detailed discussion of that, but I just wanted to come out here and let you guys know that safe place, beautiful place, great place to spend the holiday. The people are really wonderful. It was a great event. Go check out that Christmas video. You can kind of see what I call Hotel Row. People were there, and it was even larger than last year in terms of the turnout. Of course, last year could have had everybody spooked out with the spooky thing, but no, it was beautiful. So, okay, everybody, thank you. Oh, by the way, no, I'm good. I feel good, and every time if I have an incident, the body is strong, very strong, and nature provided many I think there's a spider web on my leg. Nature provided many tools for the body to use to heal itself. So thank you for all of your concern. I appreciate it. As always, love you guys. Uhuru. Uhuru. Uhuru.